you ready to start the show, Tyler?
Oh, you know it, girl. I've been ready. I was born ready.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Dude's Brunch, your late-night morning talk show. I'm your host, Taylor Olmstead, and here with me this week to talk about breakfast food, pop culture, the internet, and hopefully not the election anymore, it's Tyler Reed. Hey, buddy, what'd you have for brunch today?
Hey, everybody. We're on like our fourth week in a row of literally the same thing. That nice and clean breakfast burrito, some iced coffee, and a maple oat scone. I swear, sooner or later, it'll be different.
Hey, man, consistency is great.
We did, however, figure out that the quiches that they serve at Coffee Emporium are gluten-free, so Catherine got to eat the potato and geta quiche, which is different from everything I've ever said. So, there's that.
I know that he's a fan of quiche. It's Shaun Evans. Shaun, what did you have for brunch today?
I had an egg, sausage, and cheese flatbread sandwich.
Ooh.
Did you make it?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Surprisingly similar to my brunch, although I didn't make my brunch. I had a egg, ham, bacon, and like pepper cream cheese spread bagel sandwich from Einstein Brothers Bagels. Reason being, on Thursday, I fell and ate shit while running and sprained the hell out of my ankle. And so this morning, I decided that I needed to figure out if I was physically capable of driving a car. So I drove to the nearest restaurant and put breakfast food into my face. Turns out, I'm okay. I can go to work tomorrow.
You little pansied ankle weirdo.
Dude, you don't want to see how bad my ankle was on Thursday night. It was like twice the size it should normally be.
You know, Taylor, you don't have to sprain your ankle just to treat yourself, okay? You can just go to Einstein Brothers once in a while.
You know, I'd never actually been there before, but it was pretty good.
It's pretty good. I like it.
Oh my god.
I don't really go out for breakfast,
Shaun?
Why you hating?
They call their topping schmear, which I'm pretty sure is actually an official thing that people call it, but it's funny. It's funny to say. It's a fun word.
Schmear.
You should say it, Shaun. Yeah.
They're using smear.
See, it's fun.
There was one at the library at Akron, and I used to go get there all the time and get a cinnamon raisin bagel with raspberry schmear.
That sounds really good.
And coffee. Because once you got the cup, you could go in there all day long and just fill it up.
Ooh, nice. I went through the drive-thru, so I could not do that. Good coffee, though.
Dumpster garbage coffee or soda, but you know what? At least you get infinite refills.
I thought it was fine coffee. Let's get into follow-up. So, the big item of follow-up this week is, of course, that as we record, it is Sunday, November 6th. This episode will be out on Sunday, November 12th, 13th. I'm bad at math. Either way, we're recording this before the election. It'll be out after the election. So you, dear listener, know who is our new president or going to be our new president.
Nope, I already know.
We have to pretend that we don't know, but we all already know.
No, I know. And as a political scientist, I can already say that the lizard people, and it was only through and the takeover of our house cats' minds and laser beams through their eyeballs that we were able to come together to form a more perfect union.
You sound a lot like the Twin Peaks book I was reading this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So while we're making wild election predictions, anybody else have any crazy off-the-wall ideas for what's going to happen on Tuesday that will be immediately proved wrong on this coming Sunday?
It'll be rigged.
Much like the recounts of just a few years ago. I think this year, I think the word's going to be it was rigged.
I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm expecting at least one, if not two or more, vertical videos on World Star Hip Hop of people getting beaten up outside of polls. I don't even care which side it is. At this point in the election, I just honestly feel like there's going to be some dude standing outside of a polling place somewhere yelling World Star, and it's just going to go off.
I think if the two candidates tie, the third candidate, the person who got the third most votes win.
No. I disagree with you entirely on that.
In Gary Johnson's first act as president, he says, think dogs should vote.
Let's just stop right here. Let's not even entertain that idea. Now that it's out there, it's been said, let's just let it fade immediately, like hot air into like the cold dead of winter.
Public education is
gone.
Demolished. It's gone.
Like, the idea that Gary Johnson is going to win president or even anything, just let it go. If you want to watch something hilarious, though, go and watch any interview with Gary Johnson. Oh my God.
Name 3 world leaders, Shaun.
Oh my God. And that's not even that. Like, have you seen people even ask him, like 1% gotcha questions, and he just blows up. It's so funny. Like, he cannot even handle himself.
In related news, I saw an ad on Twitter this weekend. Turns out Jimmy McMillan is now the spokesperson for a rental car company. His new slogan, "The car rents are too damn high." Another item of follow-up on my list here. The Google Pixel is out in the wild. We spoke about this briefly last week. And much to Shaun's delight, I'm sure, the quick switch cable, or whatever the hell it's called, can actually transfer almost all of the data from your iPhone to the Pixel. We'll link in the show notes to Mike Hurley's video where he walks through setting up the Pixel and talking about how easy it is. So if you're at all interested in that, you can check that out in the show notes.
Oh, we should talk about This Week in Beers. Has anybody drank any This Week in Beers fun beers?
So I picked up a 6-pack of Orpheus Brewing's Lyric Saison. Orpheus is a brewery here in Atlanta that makes almost exclusively sour beers, but their Saison is like one of the only things they make that isn't sour. I had one of them, and then I hurt my ankle and had to go on pain pills that I probably shouldn't take beer with, so I'm going to be very excited when my ankle is done swelling and I can start drinking again.
Oh, you're cute. Tyler, any notable brews?
Well, we did just get in Dark Horse's Blueberry Stout, which the fun part of that was that the beer draft handle is a gun, in which one of my favorite things to say about people that like to drink only the hardest of liquors and eat nails for breakfast the most, I'm like, just take a cup and you just put a loaded gun in it. So I was like, this is like halfway to my dream. I'm halfway there to just literally giving someone a gun to drink.
Have you tried the Blueberry Stout?
I have. It was very good.
Yeah, I really like that beer a lot, actually. And I don't like stouts that much.
So since I have no context within the beer world, I was surprised you even knew what that was. I just assumed we just pick random fucking shit off the shelf. I'm like, that's what we're getting.
Dark Horse is pretty popular.
Oh.
What about you, Shaun? Any good brews this week?
Brotherhood. It's a brewery in Virginia. I think it's on this side of Virginia. I should be more clear. It's on the east side of Virginia. I had their elementary porter, and how would I put it? Friday night we went to this Irish place and I had a Guinness. It made Guinness taste watery.
I mean, a lot of things make Guinness taste watery, but I think that's a good description.
It's pretty much like smoke sludge. That's like the best way to describe it, like smoky sludge.
Like you're afraid if it gets stuck in your mustache, it's going to take weeks to come out?
Yeah, like you have a fine film in your beard after you have one of these out of a glass. It's good, but it's like you have one and you're kind of like stouted out.
I know that feel.
And then right now I have the Winterhook Dark Ale from Red Hook Brewery. And it's pretty good. It's like a spicy IPA.
So you gave 2 topics, and we didn't actually decide between them.
What do we want to talk about? Is punk dead or why brunch sucks?
Why don't we start with one, and then if it doesn't take long enough, we'll do the other.
Let's just do one.
I don't know why brunch sucks. I'm strongly against that statement, and it goes against our brand.
See, that's why I thought it'd be a good topic, because I could say, like, I could just go on my tirade about why I hate brunch. Let's
save punk, because I feel like it'll be more relevant once we know who wins the presidency.
Okay. Will all your favorite punk bands be coming out with new albums? Find out next week on Dude's Brunch.
Absolutely.
All right, Shaun. So you have a controversial topic for us this week.
It's not controversial. It's the truth. Let's lay it out. I don't like brunch. I don't really care for brunch. I don't seek brunch out. The fact that this show is called Brunch has always bothered me a little bit because I just don't care for brunch. And every time, if you've noticed, ever since we've been on this show and we've asked what you've had for brunch, I don't think there's ever been one where I've said that I've actually gone to brunch. I've always said what I've had for breakfast because I think brunch is terrible. So my first question is, agree or disagree? Just say whether you agree or disagree. You don't have to define it. Just say, agree or disagree, brunch sucks.
I totally disagree. Brunch is great.
Strongly disagree.
Oh my god.
Get wrecked.
Okay,
Two
well
against
tell me.
one,
Okay,
you're wrong.
Okay, defend why brunch is something good.
See, here's the reason that brunch is good. Brunch is designed for the weekends and especially for hangovers. Because it's like breakfast, arguably the most delicious meal of the day. It just goes on forever. And you can drink coffee, or you can drink mimosas, or you can drink Bloody Marys. You can kind of fluctuate between caffeine and alcohol to either wake yourself up, or get rid of your hangover, or both. It's the only time it's socially acceptable to double fist champagne and coffee. And I think that's brilliant.
It's a pretty good answer.
You realize that the only thing he talked about in that whole section was just rationalizing day drinking? He didn't really talk about food. He didn't really talk about, like, anything. He just wanted a reason to put coffee and champagne in his mouth.
Shaun, don't pretend like you don't love day drinking.
I do like it, but I don't have to rationalize it by saying that I just want to have coffee in one hand and champagne in the other.
My point is, day drinking feels unacceptable before noon unless you're having brunch. Like, if I drink before noon, I feel scummy and gross, but not if I'm having brunch.
Then it feels classy?
No. It just feels slightly less trashy.
So I'm just trying to figure out.
It just feels, like, basic.
Okay, Tyler, go for it. Your turn. You try and convince me that brunch is something that's useful.
Well, Shaun, I would not call myself a morning person. I'm definitely more of a night person. And so the common situation that occurs in my life is that I work really late or I stay up really late just because that's just how I am. I wake up 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that range. And great, let's go get some breakfast. Oh, wait, if it's fast food, oh, you best believe those places are all fucking closed. They're like, sorry, we're on to lunch. Lunch starts at like 11. Most places stop even doing breakfast around that time. And so brunch allows me to get some of my favorite foods whenever I want, or at least at a later time. And I guess I would call the sandwich that I get Sleepy Bee it would be a brunch sandwich because, I don't know, it's not quite just sandwiches kind of are breakfast, kind of not. Because, I mean, like, I think it just takes some of my favorite foods and kind of does a little bit more with it. Like, it usually involves potatoes, usually involves feta, usually like bacon. It's a little excessive typically. It usually just takes all the best parts of all the foods you love and kind of smashes them together.
Yeah, brunch is like made of 3 things: carbs, eggs, and cheese. What's not to love?
It's just the breakfast that's later, like during lunch.
See, okay, so Tyler brings up a good point in saying that and describing his quote-unquote brunch routine. I was trying to logic out whether brunch is actually something that you eat as a breakfast or something that is lunch. It just doesn't make sense to me.
How doesn't it make sense? We've been over this a bajillion times.
No, explain it to me then. What is brunch? Define brunch academically.
Brunch is a meal usually consumed between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. that is a combination of traditional breakfast foods and heavier lunch items. And it often involves alcoholic beverages.
Don't you think that window is a little too big?
No.
9 to 3?
9 a.m. would technically count. It's probably more like 11, but
I would...
Still.
I think it depends on the day of the brunch, too.
So Tuesday brunch, not a thing?
No, I think Tuesday brunch has a wider window. I'm thinking specifically Sunday brunch is like 11 to 3, because typically Sunday brunch involves like coming from church or something, or just generally getting up later because you were partying on Saturday night. One of the two.
So essentially what you're doing is just eating breakfast during the typical lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's like a heavier, it's like a heavier breakfast. Like Tyler said, it's kind of like, it's like sandwiches or like wraps, like burritos, or it's got more substance to it than just like your typical run-of-the-mill farmer's breakfast of like scrambled eggs and sausage.
So if you go to Bob Evans or Frisch's or something, whenever your local places, Swenson's or Bob's or something, and you get the Farmer Boy or something of the sort, like
your
like
typical
you said,
2 eggs, hash browns, and bacon or sausage.
Right, but you get it at 7:00 at night. Do you call it Brenner?
Sure.
I feel like some people would. I wouldn't. I mean, at that point, it just feels like you're eating breakfast food, but not at breakfast time. I think brunch has this certain, like, separate thing about it where you wouldn't go to Bob Evans necessarily for brunch. You could, but generally you're going to a brunch place.
What are you talking about? I don't.
You don't know about brunch places?
I do know what the brunch place is, but I don't think you generally understand what the whole point of brunch is.
I think brunch is more of a socially accepted version of a meal than it is the food that's served at that meal.
See, I think you have a breakfast and lunch place mixed up with a restaurant that serves brunch.
No.
Yes, I do.
Okay, what would you define as a brunch place, Shaun?
Okay, a brunch, this is what a brunch is. A brunch is served in a restaurant that usually serves lunch and dinner, and it's usually only done on like a couple days a week, usually weekends, Saturday or Sundays. And this establishment probably sells alcohol during its regular services, which allows them to have like alcohol at their brunches, which I would argue is probably a pivotal part of any quote-unquote standard brunch. Now, if you go to like First Watch? Yeah, like a First Watch, or that these places, or like a Wally Waffle in Akron, these places they don't do brunch. They have like omelets or waffles or something of the sort. Or pancakes. They don't serve alcohol. They don't do brunch. They just do this one particular kind of thing. And that's their claim to fame. So I think that, like, saying that, you're confusing the two.
No, because I think my definition of a brunch place was what you were talking about. It's a place that typically serves dinner, but does breakfast on the weekends. Or brunch on the weekends, or whatever you want to call it.
As a side note, First Watch has gotten on the booze cruise lately. So, there's that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it the same, though.
You're like, wait a second. Wait. First Watch, weren't you supposed to be about, like, eating healthy or something?
I was going to say, yeah, isn't it supposed to be family-friendly, healthy food?
That's what I thought. Turns out, you can have a Bloody Mary, too.
All right.
But it's not the same thing.
I will concede that.
So, I guess, here's why I'm really skeptical of brunches. I feel like they're a gimmick.
Aren't all restaurants gimmicks?
No, they're not.
Please explain.
They're not all gimmicks. Because I feel like when you get brunch, it's because you... how do I say this? You need to say it diplomatically, but also... I really want to reference Anthony Bourdain's book, but I feel like if you've read that book and you don't like Anthony Bourdain, you're just going to shoot my argument down like immediately and be like, you just really like Anthony Bourdain a lot, blah, 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 blah. And that's what you sound like if you tell me that.
Well, none of us have read the book, and if our listeners have, then they'll tweet angrily at you and not at me. So go ahead and make the reference.
Okay, so Anthony Bourdain, as you know, he used to be a cook before he was on his travel shows, and he talks about how when he first got out of culinary school that he would work for these restaurants that served brunch. And he says that brunch is typically done on Saturdays and Sundays by, like, starter chefs or underlings in restaurant businesses that have to come in when the normal chefs wouldn't be there as a money grab by restaurateurs. Because, like, eggs and potatoes and stuff are usually, like, super cost effective, really easy to make, and brunches you can charge, like, I don't know what it's like in your guys' cities, but here you can charge, like, anywhere from $20 for a really cheap brunch to, like, $95 for, like, a high-end brunch. Yeah, I know, Tyler. That's the same face I'm making. People are like, oh, yeah, I'm going to brunch. Because, like, you're like, wait a second. You're going to pay $45 for a brunch buffet where you can essentially just make it yourself for two, with the exception of, like, actually getting non-well vodka to put in your Bloody Marys? Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm super skeptical of it.
I think you're seeing a very, like, overinflated view of brunch. I don't know. When I don't go to brunch very often, like, actual go out to eat brunch, but when I do, it's never that expensive. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we talked about a brunch I had at a restaurant up the street, and it was like $10 with coffee.
What did you... I don't know. Maybe I just live in a place that has a little bit more bourgeois
I think that
brunches.
might be it.
I think you live in the bourgeois capital of the United States, Shaun.
Valid.
But I feel like even in Cleveland, it was the same way. Like, you would still pay $35 to go to the organic grocery store's brunch. And they normally only served lunch and dinner, but they would have a brunch on Sundays. And you could go there and you would spend $35 a person. And you could eat all the eggs and potatoes that you wanted.
See, maybe that's it. Maybe you're going to brunch buffets, because I'm typically accustomed to, like, you order a plate.
But I feel like that's not brunch.
Oh, that's totally brunch.
No. I feel like that's not the same thing.
Totally brunch. This place I went, it's up the street. It's called Pijiu Belly. They do, like, Asian-inspired rotisserie chicken type stuff. It's kind of a weird mix of, like, soul food and Asian food. And I ordered a scrambled egg dish that had scrambled eggs and sweet potatoes and rotisserie chicken and cheese and hash browns. And that with a cup of coffee was like $10. Totally still brunch, because they're only open for brunch on Saturday and Sunday from like 10 or 10:30 until like 2. And then it's all lunch and dinner menu.
But I feel like if you go there and it's not a buffet, you're not actually having brunch.
I think you're totally still having brunch.
No, it's not the same thing.
All what's missing is unlimited mimosas for like $10. That's all you need. That's like, I feel like you need to have one or the other. I think it needs to be a buffet, or it needs to have like some sort of like super special booze special.
See, and this is what. Okay, so Taylor, I agree with you that going to a breakfast food place and ordering breakfast, or going to a restaurant and ordering breakfast, is one thing. Even if you do it in the afternoon, that's okay. I wouldn't call that brunch, though. I feel like brunch has a structure.
I think you can still call it brunch, but it's not the traditional brunch. I'll agree with you.
But that's what I'm saying. I hate the idea of traditional brunches. I feel like they're not about consuming food. I feel like there's an ulterior motive there.
Oh, there is. There absolutely is. I mean, haven't you ever watched Sex and the City?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that that's why brunches just I don't care for them, because I feel like it's just people going out to be seen by other people, eating breakfast food, and having drinks in the morning or in the early afternoon, and being like, oh, I wonder what busy things they were up to before. They're at brunch, they must be important. And I think it's stupid. It's dumb.
So this isn't at all about the food or the prices or the meal. It's entirely about you hating the bourgeoisie.
I never
It's
said
about
that.
Shaun not watching Sex in the City enough. That's what it is. Shaun hates.
Look, Shaun, I understand Sex and the City isn't for you. You aren't the target demographic. But it's an extremely influential television program, and I feel like you need to respect that.
You're not going to turn this in and say, like, Shaun hates Sex in the City, and that's what he
Sarah
hates
Jessica
Brunch.
Parker is a brilliant actress and an
same.
American
Oh my
talent.
god, oh my god, now you're just, like, putting this in a totally
You're
different
hating
direction.
on one of our own, a
I'm not
native
hating-
Cincinnatian.
I'm not hating on Sarah Jessica Parker.
It feels good to have a topic totally derailed. Shaun, oh god. This is what it feels like, doesn't it? Oh god, it feels so good to just have your whole point just completely ruined.
You're obviously not a Carrie.
But back to what I was saying, I really don't like brunch just because it's a scene. It has nothing to do with actual good food. It's just a scene.
I don't really understand. I mean, I guess I come from a completely different perspective from all you guys because, like, I literally have, like, five places right next to me that I can get brunch pretty much at any time, and it's not a big goddamn fucking deal.
That's not brunch, though.
Shaun, I think you have a very weird definition of brunch that is related to class structure.
Oh, my God.
And Tyler and I are just talking about eating at a certain time of day.
We're arguing.
I'm Googling
semantics.
this. I'm
really
Googling this right now.
All I'm saying is, Taste of Belgium with their chicken and waffles.
Here we go.
With maple syrup and hot sauce, I think is the quintessential, ideal version of what a brunch is.
Okay, so let's just put this out there, because we had to go to the Googler because we can't get anything right here, and we had to set down terms to get this all right. Brunch, as defined by Google, is a late morning meal eaten instead of breakfast or lunch. It is not breakfast or lunch, so you cannot eat it in the place of a meal or as in the place of a meal that you missed. It is distinct for itself.
But it replaces both, right?
No, it just says a late morning meal eaten instead of breakfast and lunch.
Breakfast and.
It's the combination of both.
Right, yes.
It bypasses the one that you missed and skips the one that skips the future.
Yeah.
Right. It's a fatalistic meal.
That's what Tyler and I were saying originally.
That's not what you said.
That's what we were saying originally.
That's not what you said.
That is what we said.
I frequently miss breakfast, and so therefore brunch is ideal for me because that means I get to have all the breakfast foods that I love at a lunchtime.
Do you eat brunch? Do you skip lunch then?
Yeah.
Do you go from quote unquote brunch to dinner?
Start off with a smoothie in the morning real early because I'm like, nah.
That's breakfast.
No, you're right. You got me. I have a light
so
breakfast.
What if I have a cup of coffee, and then I go to Einstein Brothers and get a bagel sandwich at like 1 o'clock, and then I have dinner?
That's not brunch.
All I had before that was a cup of coffee.
You had a bagel for lunch. You had a bagel for lunch. You didn't have breakfast.
It had eggs in it.
According to the internet, you can skip breakfast and brunch and get to lunch. There seems to be this golden time between the hours of 10:30 a.m. and, I don't know, 12:30 when brunch is the category. But there is a list of foods. Wikipedia has a list of brunch foods. So that's what I mean. Like, there is such things, right? There is a brunch scene. There is like things that you have to do for it to be brunch. It's not just like all willy-nilly like you guys just skipping around into whatever restaurant, just eating whatever the hell you want at this huge window of time, this like quarter of a day swath.
I think it is.
It's called brunch. It doesn't work like that.
It does work like that.
God. Here we go. Let's consult Urban Dictionary about this. This is Urban Dictionary. Contradiction of breakfast and lunch.
Combination.
A contraction of brunch, of breakfast and lunch, usually occurring around the hours of 11 a.m., typically reserved for snobs and biddies who like tea and jam. This is the quote. Muffy, would you care for a bit of brunch after tennis? I can make reservations at the Frostista Garden Tea House. See? It is a total scene. You guys are liars, and you're just going on about how brunch is this huge category when it's not. It's not. I didn't write this stuff on Urban Dictionary. I didn't make this up on Google.
Fine. Then you know what? We're rebranding brunch. We're going to take back brunch.
Do you want that?
I do want that.
This isn't like Reply All where people are just going to like take back Pepe or something like that. Like, it's done.
You know, for me, brunch is the meal that I eat somewhere between when the normies eat breakfast and dinner that I talk about on this podcast.
Here,
Guys,
actually, go to Google and type in what is brunch. There is a lot of conversation about this right now. There's a lot of people that are sitting here talking about what is served at a Sunday buffet brunch? ? What exactly is the difference between breakfast, lunch, brunch, and dinner? Like, people, there is a thing. It is distinct. I can't believe we're going to have like a 45-minute segment where I'm just yelling at you guys about how you're wrong about brunch and it's stupid.
All right, let's run down the Wikipedia list of what constitutes as a brunch food, shall we?
Okay.
In alphabetical order. Bacon. Bagel, which I had today.
You're going to need a lot more fingers, Tyler.
Biscuits and gravy, blintz, bread and toast with butters and jams, breakfast sausage, brunch casserole, aka a simple casserole prepared with bread, eggs, and bacon. Cereal, chilaquiles, cinnamon rolls, coffee cake, crepes, croissant, David Ayers pancake, dim sum, Dutch baby pancake, various egg dishes, English McMuffin.
Okay, wait. Okay, so let's... I see what you're saying here by listing off things, but if we're going to use Wikipedia as the authority of what breakfast is, of what brunch is, let's first read the first sentence.
We did. You read it earlier.
No, read the first sentence. I didn't read the first sentence. It's different.
Brunch is a combination of breakfast and lunch, usually eaten during the late morning, but it can extend to as late as 3 p.m. That is the definition of brunch that Tyler used in episode 1 of this podcast.
And what are the sources that it cites here?
The word is a portmanteau of breakfast and lunch. Brunch originated in England in the late 19th century and became popular in the United States in the 1930s.
But so the definition of brunch was cited here as being from a book by Robert Allen, what was how you say his name? Palmatier?
Let's go with Palmatier.
From his book, Food, a Dictionary of Literal and Non-Literal Terms.
And also, brunch, meal, from the WordNet Dictionary.
Right. So there's a 4-hour window where you can have brunch.
Yeah.
You can't have brunch at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Well, it says the late morning. It doesn't specify what the late morning is.
You know what the late morning is.
Late relative to what? Relative to 4 a.m.?
Oh my god.
I'm just saying, it's an open... I understand what you mean. You're saying that late morning is sometime after 10:30, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying somebody could, devil's advocate, say late morning is anything after, 8 or whatever. But you're right. We, as a civilized human society, have decided that late morning is 10:30 onwards. So you have from 10:30 to 3 to eat brunch. And on the brunch page of Wikipedia, it does have a homemade brunch as an example. A homemade brunch consisting of cooked eggs on toast and salad accompanied by orange juice. Oh, did you know that United States military often serves weekend brunch in their dining facilities? They offer both breakfast and lunch options and are open from 900 to 1300 hours, though times may vary.
Which is what? 9 o'clock in the morning till 2 in the afternoon?
Till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So their brunch is shifted forward a little bit, but I'm assuming that's because they have stuff to do.
But do you think they serve brunch at 1400 hours?
I mean, it depends on the base, probably.
I think someone just rationalizing now.
I think it's a good time to remember the origin of the term dude's brunch, coined in roughly spring quarter 2012, wherein myself, Lucas Chaffin, and Daniel Spencer would go to the so-called brunch on campus at Ohio University and watch hungover college students complain about how drunk they got the night before. Does that count as brunch? We were there at like 9 a.m. when it first opened and usually stayed until like noon.
But that goes back to my thing that brunch is just a scene.
Great.
And it's pointless.
Who cares?
Brunch ain't a scene.
It's all made up, bro.
It's a goddamn arms race.
I mean, as long as I can get some breakfast food later than 11 a.m., I don't give a fucking shit. I don't know why this is even like...
All right, let's trash this topic. Let's just talk about if Punk's dead or not. This is dumb. This is...
I want to wake up a little too late and have chicken and waffles. That's all I want. It shouldn't be that hard.
Okay, hold on. Don't start watching it yet until I say go ahead and watch it. I'll just post it. Okay, so this is... So, as most of you know, I work for the company called Banana Republic. We're a Gap subsidiary. They're our mother brand. And we just relaunched most of our suiting, which you probably didn't know. But when we're talking to some people from headquarters, they were saying that I wanted to start competing with a company that specializes in men's suiting and luxury wear called Suit Supply. And I was investigating their brand because I was curious. I'd never heard of this place before until we were talking about it. And it's actually really cool. Outside of this podcast, I recommend that you go and check it out because they actually have some super cool stuff. But there was one thing that really stuck out to me that I thought was absolutely hilarious, and it is the quintessential internet garbage for dudes brunch. And it might be the most dude-perfect thing that ever existed. And I just sent the guys the video, so we're going to live watch this. So watch the video. It's called the race case.
All right, let's go.
Does it autoplay? Oh, hell yes. I've seen this before. Oh, Shaun.
Okay, so right. This is why I wanted to bring this one up, because I think this is internet garbage. This is just totally just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So it's, to put it out there, it's like what would you say, like a carry-on?
Yeah,
it's like a carry-on leather suitcase that has a scooter, like not like a scooter like, you know, like
a razor scooter.
Like a razor scooter that's built into it that you can glide around on. And presumably what I'm assuming is an airport before you get sacked by a security official for speeding on your scooter in between airlines or being laughed at by everybody because they're like, what the hell is that man doing? So what do you guys think? What do you think about this epically stupid
Okay, so I've seen this before. Famed YouTuber Casey Neistat got one of these in the mail a few weeks ago and was riding it around his office. I think it's hysterical. There's no way I would carry it, but if you're Casey Neistat and you already ride a skateboard through the airport, now you got both in one.
That's right. If you have more money than God, perfect.
Oh yeah, and for the record, the race case is $500.
Which really isn't all that bad for a suitcase. I mean, you can spend a lot more on a suitcase than $500.
The first time that you beef it on this thing and you rip up your $1,000 suit and scuff up your $5,000 suitcase, I am not going to hold back on just busting out laughing at you.
$500
suitcase, but yeah, I agree.
Your smart casual outfit, your... I couldn't help but notice that right below the video says maximum speed 300 miles per hour. I'm like, wait, hold on.
And the concept drawings are even stupider.
Oh, the concept drawings are terrible. They're really bad.
Would you guys buy this if it wasn't like
if you
could afford it? Would you buy it?
Yeah,
you would.
I mean,
why?
Because I think it's ridiculous. If I could just afford it as a fun novelty item, yeah. If I was buying new luggage that I needed to take on business trips, hell no.
Tyler, are you willing to spend $500 on a Razor scooter with what looks like a crumpled up McDonald's burger on the front of it?
I mean, if I could literally have that guy's clothes and like have like have the desire and the ability to have that sort of like look, be able to pull that off consistently, have disposable income for that. I mean, and I'm like somehow like traveling the globe on a daily basis. And yeah, sure, why not? I mean, presuppose you also have more money than God. I could probably afford it and have no like, yeah, whatever. It's fine.
Do you think that the race case is an invention that will provide more good or more evil to the world?
I think it's going to be a chaotic neutral.
I hate you.
No, the reason I say that is I think that for some people this will be really great and it'll get them to their airlines on time. But for a lot of people, this thing is going to be a massive pain in the ass. It's going to take forever to get through security. People are always going to be asking you stupid questions, and you're going to fall off of it in front of pretty girls at the airport and feel like a dumbass. So, I think when you balance it all out, it's going to be pretty neutral. But it's only going to be really good for a special kind of person who's already the kind of person that rides their skateboard or scooter in the airport.
So really, only agents of chaos should buy this product.
I mean, basically, that's what I'm saying. What do you think?
I'm very
Tyler?
sad that there's no videos on Google yet and YouTube of anybody doing like trying to do a kickflip on this thing, or like going through an airport and like running into somebody's back who's like has headphones in and is like holding a full cup of coffee and they get like beat up.
So Taylor, you're gonna buy one then?
Hell no!
This is for the same group of people that, you know, like, I don't know, loved Tony Hawk Pro Skater as a kid, but was never coordinated enough to actually like put together clothes on a regular basis that matched.
God, Shaun, if you just make that into like a meme image, perfect. That would get infinite internet points.
You would get them likes, bro.
When you love skateboarding, but also have about $1 billion, and it's just a guy, right?
Those two things don't go together.
Oh, but they do.
When you're
That's why it's funny. That's
It's time to end the show with Shameless Plugs. Tyler, what the fuck do you want the people to do this week?
Hey everybody, how you doing? You can find my work at TylerDreed.com. You can follow me on socials as TDR Design on Instagram and Twitter. Shaun's making fun of me because I'm prepared and I've perfected my monologue. Thank
Shaun,
you.
Shameless Plugs from you.
You can check me out on TylerDreed.com. I'll be up there ranting about stuff. And if you really like me, you can find me on Twitter at sevans8910 and on Snapchat at that same handle.
You can follow me on Twitter at TC Olmstead and also on Instagram and Snapchat if you feel like doing that. You can follow the show or like the show on Facebook and Twitter. We are at Dudes Brunch on both. And if you really like what we do here, you can leave us a review on iTunes. We haven't gotten one of those in a while. Maybe if you leave us a review, we'll give you a shout out on the podcast. Otherwise, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week for more of some meal that happens at some point early in the day.
Shut up. I hate you.
No, we have to keep it now.
We talked about it for 29 minutes, Shaun. I think we have to keep it.
I don't want to keep it.
And I listened to Lady Gaga's Born This Way the entire time.
I hate you.
I was wondering why you were doing the sassy finger the whole time.